Hey folks, how are you doing today? Now, welcome to this podcasting course, webinar, whatever you want to call it, which is all part of your podcasting toolkit. And today we're going to be talking about podcasting for authors. Now, this is an absolutely amazing topic that I'm really passionate about for a number of reasons, but mainly I want people to be able to shout out about what they've done, what they've created, and authors are a bunch of people who I love and adore what they do. But because they're so focused on creating what they want to do, they don't tend to focus on the marketing afterwards. And podcasting is a massive opportunity for them to be able to shout about the great stuff that they've got going on. So, it's for me, this course is suitable for authors, obviously, but it's also suitable for content creators. It's suitable for people who have got courses and other people who have got other things which have got kind of different segments to it. So let's dive into it. Let's talk about what we've got in. Now, just to let you know, this is part of the Your Podcasting Toolkit where I do 3 monthly webinars every month. So we did kind of January to that was on the previous night. So today we're talking about podcasting for authors. Next time it's going to be beginner's guide to podcasting. Then it's going to be to celebrate the launch of the new course, the essential guide to keeping your podcast alive and thriving. We've got Grow Live, which is a week-long celebration of podcasting, where there's different events, different webinars, different podcast launches, different talks, all available between 14th and 20th of September. If you want to find out more, you can pop onto the website. Beginner's Guide, Standout Guide, and Podcast Launch to finish off the year. So that's what we've got going on in terms of the webinars. So if you like this, sign up for those. You'll find them on Eventbrite or LinkedIn. Today, we are talking about this bad boy, podcasting for authors. Now, this course is available on places like on Grow Radio, but it's also available on Udemy as well. So if you do want to check it out, please pop onto either Udemy, if that's where you fancy learning, or pop onto Grow Radio, and we can go from there and we can have a bit of fun doing this. But today, we're going to be talking about podcasting for authors. Now, when you've created a book or created a series of books, you've got a big marketing asset right in your hand or on a digital device that people can use and enjoy time and time again. Now, this is really powerful. And because you want to look at ways how to maximize that book and way to really kind of showcase it in its best light, podcasting is a great way of doing that. Podcasting, instead of just giving people 3 to 10 seconds or a minute of their time, podcasting on a podcast as a guest or as a host, you've got longer to talk about it. So you can go into more details. You can use your natural storytelling kind of concepts and weave it into your key messages, which means you've got the audience for longer. You've got their attention for more than 10 seconds when they're just scrolling on the phone, if you're looking to get them for 10 seconds. So podcasting is a great way of making you more visible and also building that trust between you, the author, and them, the listener. So for me, it's a no-brainer. It's a longer shelf. It lasts longer on the different platforms as well. People will engage with it for a longer period of time when they first do that. And also they build trust into you. That's golden. That's exactly what you want. Because you've already got this. Apologies for this dog barking. Stan, please. No. Do apologize. This is real life. We're recording this at home, and the dogs are barking because they've just seen someone walk past. Golden. Podcasting works for authors. Let's move on to the next slide. Oh, by the way, if you have got a book, please let us know. Let us know what it's all about, and I'll give you a shout out at the end of this. So if you've got a book and you want to do this, if you want to shout out at the end, please do. And also, if you've got any questions at all, please put them in the comments. Let me know what questions you've got, and I'll answer them at the end. This presentation will take about 20 minutes or so, and then it will go on to a Q&A afterwards. Right then, let's get cracking with what else I can do. Now, I'm going to click on reduce background noise. and I'll see if that helps any more. It does. So let's get cracking with it. So guesting on podcast versus hosting your own. So this is the choice that you've got to make. It is. Both have got great kind of benefits to it. Guesting takes less time and you appear as a guest on that person's podcast. Now, the great thing about that is that it means that you can spend time practicing your key messaging. You can get in front of new audiences as well, which is absolutely great. But also it means that you can really kind of build that trust with new audiences and get to know people. You expand your network massively. Hosting your own show is a great option for people who want to go a bit more in depth about it, get people on and really be in control of the narrative of the podcast, but also really bring people into the network as well. Now, what's best for authors depends on how much time you've got. As I said, guesting takes less time than actually hosting a show. And again, apologies for the dogs barking. They've now stopped. But apologize if you can't hear anything. If you did have any issues with the sound, please let me know in the comments, and I'll repeat this at the end of it. But in a nutshell, what's best for authors depends on what stage of their author career they are. It depends on how much time they've got, and it depends on how much they need to spread their network, or if they've got a big network and community to start off with. If you've got a big one to start off with, hosting your own could be a good way of doing it. But equally, guesting on podcasts, it shouldn't be an either or. You should be guesting on a few podcasts as well as hosting your own if you wanted to. But you've got to decide which one you want to do. For me, I'd recommend both, but spread it out. Because also, when you guest on a podcast, you can talk about your own podcast as well, potentially, if the host wants to do it. But have a think about what you want to do. And I want you to know at this point in time, having your own podcast is not the only way to engage with people in podcasting. You can be a guest on other people's shows. Now, I want you to get a podcast ready. So there's a few bits that you need to do before you start approaching different people. And just like with your book, you've got a great marketing asset there, which is great, gives you credibility straight away, gives you authority because you wrote a book about that topic. And I want you to start developing these different things. So, I want you to start to kind of really discover your key messages to start off with. So let's focus on key messages. So getting podcast ready, focus on your key messages. I want you to have a key message, maybe 3 to 5 key messages that you want to shout out about. Now, this could be themes inside the book. It could be how you made the book or what gave you the idea, inspiration for the book. That could be a key message that you want to share. You're going to know your key messages better than I am, but what I want you to do is write down maybe 3 or 5, and in those 3 or 5 key messages, I want you then to expand. So you've got a 30-second key message. Then you've got a minute key message for the same idea. Then you've got a 5-minute. And each of those will just develop on each other. So if you've got 30 seconds to say one of your key messages, you've got it straight away. You've practiced it, you know it. If you've got 5 minutes, however, to say the same key message, then you can maybe put in a story, maybe kind of wove in a bit of a passage from the book, whatever it is. See what I'm trying to do? So when it comes to being a guest on a podcast, or you talking about the book, you've got your key messages sorted and they're suitable for the time frame that you've got. And they're also suitable for the audiences as well. Those key messages you can use as social media posts. You can record little videos, little clips of you doing it if you want to. But for me, your key message is part of getting podcast ready, which a lot of people don't tend to focus on. Now, finding podcasts which will sell your book. Now, in reality, if you're just starting your podcasting journey, any podcast is a good podcast to be on to start off with. But you don't want to go in selling. You want to know that audience for that podcast is ideally the people who are going to buy your book. That's the golden ticket. That's what you want to do. But sometimes that's not possible. And sometimes you need to go onto podcasts. And this isn't a bad thing, which helps you hone your craft. It helps you practice your key messages, helps you practice kind of going back and forth with a host. But what you don't want, but ideally what you want to do is to match up your audience for your book to the target audience of the podcast. When them two match up, fantastic. Don't be put off if you haven't got the same audience. However, you can still practice your key messages. You can still practice and get the word out there. Every podcast is a win. And every podcast will lead up to the podcast that could potentially sell your book or get you noticed. And remember, if you've got a link to a podcast already and you've got key messages which would suit their show, then that is golden. That is absolutely golden. You want your key messages to match up to their show to start off with. If you don't, then it just becomes a whole load of waste of time for you, the guest, and also the host as well. So when I say finding podcasts that will sell your book, I mean it in two ways. I mean matching up your audiences, but also matching up your key messages with the key messages to that show as well. It's not a one-size-fits-all, folks. And people want to go onto a big podcast about this straight away. And they always ask me, where can I find podcasts which will sell my book? And the truth is, there's not one place. There are podcast directories out there which will match you up as a guest to people with podcasts. Matchmaker.fm, matchmaker.com is a great one. No, matchmaker.fm is a great one to check out. But honestly, you don't need to worry about that. Just get on podcasts. That's the first step. And then you can start matching it up. Remember, you need those key messages to start off with. Now, when you're pitching yourself to an author as a guest, now you don't want to sound desperate and you don't want to come off as a salesperson, a sales dick, as I call them, because that's what you don't want to happen. You want to come across natural. And this is where your key messages really kick into play. Now, if you know what key messages you want to share, then you can match your key messages up to the key messages of those shows that you want to go on to. Now, these could be lofty aspirations. They may be kind of lower shows. Either way, the process is roughly the same. Now, what you want to do is before you approach them, you want to listen to a few episodes. Yeah, you're right. You've got to do some work before you get onto a podcast. You've got to listen to a few episodes. Ideally, probably the latest episode, maybe one or two previous ones, just to make sure that you know you're going to be a good fit onto that show. And what I mean by that is you'll get a sense of, can I actually be interviewed by this person? You can get a sense of what type of questions that they ask. You'll get a sense of, actually, will my key messages fit into these ones? You'll also see if any guests will actually be a good match for you as well. All of this you can use as content and ideas to then pitch to the actual show itself. Now, once you've listened to a few, you know that you're going to be a good fit. You've got your key messages there, and you know you're going to be able to give value to their target audience. And also, before you do that, check out their social media as well, and maybe connect with them, follow them, and make sure that you're connected on social media as well. So when they search you, your name will come up as following. You know, all of these bits will help. Then when you actually go and pitch them, this could happen in a couple of different ways. It could be the case that you might just send a message online on their preferred social media channel and they might go, yep, perfect, you're in. You might have to fill out a form, you might have to do a video, or you might have to be invited on. Either way, what you want to do is, in the build up to that, start commenting on their social media posts. And so therefore, when you actually do approach them, it's a warm contact and not a cold contact. What I mean is they know you before you actually pitch yourself. If you're going cold and you don't know, and they don't know you, then you're no different to the thousands of people they might get each week trying to get onto their show. So start kind of buttering them up, start talking to them. And then when you are going to pitch to them, make sure that you are focusing on what value you can give to their audience. So, you know, I want you to include in your pitch, and it could be a video, it could be on letter, it could be filling out a form. But at some point, they would say, why do you want to be on my show? Simple question. And what you should do is you should say, you know, first of all, I love your show. I've listened to a few episodes. I really like this episode with this person and this person where you discuss this topic. Now, I think my key themes that I want to share on your show are these, and these. And I think these fits into what you're trying to do. It fits into your pillars. It fits into your ethos. It fits into previous guest question answers as well. And I think actually we can have a lot of fun, and your audience could get a few new ideas as well. Now, if you do that to any podcast host, they're going to go, wow, that's really cool. Because first of all, they've listened to the show. I know they've checked out my socials because I've spoke to them before on there. They thought about their key messaging and they thought about my audience, and you've put them and their audience in the center of the pitch. Now, that is perfect. That is perfect. Now, hell, you still might not get onto the show because of other reasons, but your pitch is going to be personal to that show. That means that every time you do a podcast pitch, it's got to be personal. You've got to do the due diligence. You've got to listen to their show. You've got to comment on their socials or follow and all that kind of stuff. But the principles are the same. You want to do your research and you want to make sure that your key messaging fits into those. Then you start talking to them online before pitching. You don't go in cold. You don't go in not researched and not listen to any episodes. If you do, damn, you're potentially going to fail. But all of this stuff that I've just spoken about increases your chances of getting onto a podcast without sounding desperate. And actually, that you're going to be a good asset to that person. Now, this is what I've interviewed a couple of authors in the past, and a couple of them have got it right, and a couple of them have got it completely wrong. I want you to go onto your book, go onto a podcast, and I want you to sell your book without selling. Now, what do I mean by that? Talk about your book without selling your book. That's exactly what I mean. So what I want you to do is go in, and with your key messaging, I want you to give value to the audience. You shouldn't sell your book. The host should sell your book. The host should be the person who says, folks, I trust this person. I really like this book. You should get it. And now, if a host does that compared to you doing that, that host has got more sway. It's got more trust in the audience. Got more trust in the host than you. That's going to be more powerful. To do this, you need to do what I've said in the previous section about making sure you're going to give value. You're going to stick to your key themes. You're not going to mention your book title every 5 seconds. You're not going to mention that you can buy the book at this place, whatever you do. You're not going to do any of that. You're going to be talking about the actual key messages that you've got. You're going to be talking about the stories inside the actual book that you've got. You're going to be talking about the way that the narrative plays out, the way the characters interact, or key points in your book that you think their audience will resonate with. They're the bits you need to talk about. Don't need to sell the book, because just by talking about the book, just by your enthusiasm, your passion, that should come across. Now, all of this stuff is good and well, me saying it, but you might need to practice this beforehand. So when it comes to the time of when you're actually on a podcast and you've, either face-to-face with someone or computer to computer or screen to screen with someone, it comes out naturally. You've got to practice these. So when you're working on your key messaging, work on what stories you want to share, what pivotal points in the stories that you want to kind of go for, how you weaved and how you created the book. People are fascinated by the process of creating a book. All of this stuff means that you're talking about the book without selling the book. Don't go onto a podcast and just sell. It's not going to work, and you're going to come across as a total and utter twat, dick, insert whatever word you want to say into it. But the main thing is, go talk about examples, talk about the stories, talk about the narrative, talk about how you did it, rather than focusing on the sell. Remember, you shouldn't sell the book. The host should sell the book for you. Now, after you've been on a podcast, it's just like the book. It's a great marketing tool that you can use to shout about what you've done. So I want you to put it onto social media. If you can get a copy of the actual video, put it as clips as well on the different platforms. I want you to make a blog about it, put it onto the website, put it as a footer, make a creative Spotify playlist if you want to. Shout about it, send it to your newsletter, and I want you to shout about it. That's the first step. Making the most of podcast interviews is about it's just a start for me. It's just a start. So when it's released, you'll get loads of links. You'll get maybe a cover picture from the host. You can share all of those on the channels I've just said. What I want you to do also is I want you to jump in the comments on the host, and I want you to share the host's posts about it. And I want you to jump in the comments, and I want you to talk to the people inside the comments, because this way you are actually growing your network. You're talking to people who are passionate about this podcast, and you just appeared on this podcast. So I want you to be able to give them the option of asking you any questions that they want to. If you get loads of questions, maybe organize a Q&A with the host another time afterwards. That's a great way of re-engaging it. Always look for other opportunities to talk to people about it, and think about every podcast appearance as a mini opportunity for you to talk to more people about it. Again, doesn't mean it's the right podcast at that particular time. That's the one that's going to really sell it, but it's going to increase your network and going to really be talking about it. Now, the more times you do this, you're going to start to build a nice library of content. You're going to start to build a nice way of talking to people. Your messaging is going to come across more natural, and you're just going to feel more confident doing it. If you've got your own show, then this should also be part of it as well. And your author brand with podcasting will really podcasting can really help you build your author brand, because instead of just someone who writes books, you're now the person who talks to audiences. You're now the person who now can tell stories from that book. You're now the person who people trust because they've seen you on a couple of different podcasts. And more importantly, the hosts trust you, so therefore I trust you as a listener. All of this will help you build your brand. Now, when you're packaging this all up, you can make a media pack if you want to for your book or as that. But I would use each opportunity and think about it as an opportunity, each appearance as an opportunity to develop your author brand. So every time you're a guest on a podcast, shout about it, like I've said. Every time you've gone onto a show, talk to people about it before, during, and after. And slowly over time, this is going to help you do this. Now, for long-term success in podcasting, it is really about consistency. You can't just do this once or twice and expect results. Realistically, marketing takes a long time for you to develop your skills and to hone your craft. Now, you can practice your key messages. You can practice your stories. You can get onto different podcasts. You can build your own show, but that's going to take time and energy and traction to be able to do it. For long-term success, you need to plan this out. Now, kind of heads up for this, my courses, my webinars, these are planned out in a year or two in advance. I know what webinars that I'm going to be doing for you guys this time for next year already. And I know what courses I'm going to be building and releasing for 2027. Those both will be released at Grow Live in September. But the main thing is you need to have a plan. And because I know what's coming up over the next couple of years for me, then I know what I need to do to promote them. And I know what assets I need to create now to be able to help do that. Same with authors and same for you guys. What I want you to do is I want you to have a long-term plan of maybe 3 years, 3 to 5 years. Let's say 3 years, make it more realistic. And in that 3 years, I want you to know, I want you to put down what books you're releasing, if you're releasing any more. I want you to put down any kind of key milestones or key celebration points that you can really do there. I want you to also work out in those 3 years what you want to do with your podcasting journey. Do you want to be a guest on 4 to 10, maybe 12 podcasts per year, which is one a month, which is a nice, realistic, maybe not, it's a nice number. It's a nice number to look at. Is it realistic for some people? Yes, it is. You can do 100 podcasts in 100 days if you wanted to with enough planning. But 12 in a year, that works because you're just building it. And we're looking at consistency over that time. If you do that, that's 36 opportunities you're going to get over the 3 years to talk about your book. 36 opportunities to talk to new audience, to network with new people, to develop relationships with 36 new hosts, which might be actually more opportunities in the future. So for me, this is about having long-term success. Don't just think about it as a one-time hit. Think about it as a long-term success plan for you. And that is my little bit. I want to say thank you very much for joining me today. That's been the presentation part of it. We're going to go on to the Q&A in just a second. So if you have any questions, please put them in the comments. Just to let you know, though, before we do go on to the Q&A, there are other courses available in the podcasting toolkit. We've got the podcasting launch guide, which is perfect step-by-step process for anyone who's looking to launch a podcast. If you're looking purely to be a guest on a podcast, we've done a course all about this, which goes into so much more details about key messaging, showing up, the tech you need, the setting the stage, loads of different stuff to help you. We've got the children's activity provider. So if you are a children's activity provider, there's a course especially for you. There's a free guide as well, which is this bad boy, the Beginner's Guide to Podcasting. It's free on Udemy and also on Grow Radio. So please, if you want to get started, we talk about the 5 different ways of how to get involved with podcasting. And there's also Podcasting for Authors, which launched this month. And we haven't stopped there. We have got 2 more launches this year. We have Keeping Your Podcast Live and Thriving, perfect for people who have got a podcast already but want to know how to take it to the next level. And we've also got a mini course just like this one, all for people in shopping centres who want to use their shopping centres to shout about their great stories which are in there. So we have now come to the Q&A section. So if you've got any questions, please put them below. Now, this could take 10 minutes. This could take half hour. It all depends on how many questions we get. Now, I know for certain that not all the questions get filtered down into my little bit just here. So I'm going to pop on to different platforms just to have a little look to see if there's any other questions on there. But please, put them below. Please put them below if you want to. I'm just playing around with these bits. I'm going to stick with this one for a little bit. No, I'll stick with that one. All right. So let's first of all, let's pop on to LinkedIn, see if there's any questions on there. Let's have a little look. Cool. There's no there's no questions on here at the moment, which is all good. Let's just check YouTube. If you have got any questions and you're watching on replay, by the way, please still put them in the comments and I will still check them out. There's no reason why, just because you're watching at a different time, I won't answer you. So let's do that. And there's no video and there's no comments on there. So there's no comments whatsoever at all. Now, if you do have any comments at any time, please let me know. I know this is a niche topic and not many people in the grand population are authors. However, I still think there's a golden opportunity for you to use podcasting. So I'm going to leave it there and call it a day. It's a shorter one than usual, but with comments, Q&A, we can do that afterwards. So please follow me on LinkedIn. My name's Gary Jones. You can check us out on Grow Radio. We also do a free weekly we do an article every day. There you go, we've got down there. So please sign up for our newsletter on LinkedIn. We're going to be releasing more stuff about Grow Live by visiting growradio.uk. And remember, if you are looking to find more courses, check our website as well there. Have fun, folks. Take care, my friends, and I'll see you all soon. Bye-bye.